Fantasy map making is one of my favorite activities. Don't ask me why. Some would say that this is a pretty weird pastime activity, but so is watching this video about it. Make sure to subscribe to receive a notification every single Monday as I release a new video. Alright, let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to take you into the world of Elysium, which is the fantasy setting for our future books. I'll put our 15 different sketches right here on the screen for you to see. You see, we're in the world building phase at the moment, and as we were drawing up these different sketches of our starting continent, I thought, hey, I think the people over on YouTube might actually enjoy the creation process. So by recording this video, I want to show you the power of making sketches of your map and what difference it actually makes instead of heading straight into the making of your final map. When we make our fantasy maps, we always start out by creating sketches. Not one, no, 10 sketches. You don't really have to have any specifics in mind as you set out to create your draft. In general, for fantasy map making purposes, we prefer to work with an electronic version of the map. It just makes things a lot easier, but the sketching phase is an exception because drawing by hand allows you to finish drafts quickly and easily move on to the next one to see where inspiration takes you. So I'm now going to cycle through the 15 different drafts that we actually ended up creating, and I warn you, you're going to see some awful drawing skill. At least mine looks terrible compared to Autumn's. Perhaps therein lies the first lesson. It doesn't matter at all if your draft looks like something horrible that somebody puked. No one else is ever going to see them anyway. Well, that is unless you start sharing them on YouTube, of course, then, well, that's a bit of an issue. Okay, let's do this. Here's the first draft we made. It was a good starting point, but we set out to create 10 different drafts as a starting point, and from those we wanted to capture what we liked. So this first one didn't have anything that excited either of us, to be honest. This is why you should be making more than just one draft. The second draft was this one. It's quite different from the first one with its twin peninsulas. And then our third draft. I don't know what happened here, to be honest. I actually hate this version. It looks super weird, whatever it is that is going on that northern coast of the continent with those 3 fingers or whatever it is. So let's bring draft number 4 onto the screen instead. So those circular formed islands kind of piqued our interest, but the landmass itself is very bland and boring, I guess that's fair to say. And then the fifth draft had the peninsulas much closer to each other, creating a lake or of salt water. We actually already knew that we needed a large lake with an island in it before we headed into the map making, so I don't know, maybe it was those kinds of thoughts that started to show here. Draft 6 is very different. As you can see, we moved away from having one continent and then split it up into 2 instead. This is one of the benefits around sketching. You get to play with different layouts and you see what you like the most. So that's very nice. Well, we moved rather quickly away from this configuration though, and came up with draft number 7 instead. Well, okay, this one also plays with 2 different continents, but it looks kind of weird. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really don't like this one. Draft 8 was the one where Autumn played with it, trying to make it resemble a dragon. Can you see it? That did make me smile, I must admit, but we moved on anyway. So draft number 9 has a repetition of those finger-like land masses. I didn't like these ones either, although I do admit that it looks a lot better than the clumsy attempt that I had. You can see which ones Autumn are drawing, right? And which ones are mine. There's quite a quality difference. Yeah, if you're in doubt, the ugly ones are mine. With regards to this draft number 9, it did have something really cool. Down there in the bottom left corner of the map, there is a bit of text, and it might be too small for you to read on the screen here, but it says Seasonal Ice Bridge. Damn cool idea. And then the final draft number 10, what can I say? Meh. What we did next was analyzing these 10 first drafts, and then we made a short list of elements that we wanted to keep. It came out as follows. Number 1, a peninsula or twin peninsula. Number 2, an island chain that links two places together. Number 3, a bay with land closing in on either side. This could be merged with the twin peninsula idea. Number 4, larger islands that could host the stone trolls with smaller islands connecting them. Again, this could be merged with the island chain idea mentioned before. Number 5, a configuration of swirling islands might be neat in the cold region for the citadel of far seeing. Number 6, a seasonal ice bridge. As you noticed, I threw in a few world-specific elements there, like I mentioned stone trolls and the citadel of far seeing, but yeah, there you have it. If you like this type of video, by the way, I might record more of this stuff in the future, and then maybe I can share some of the details, but just hit the like button or let me know in the comment section below if you actually find this sort of video interesting. I really want to know. Anyways, on this basis, we now decided to create another 4 drafts, building on what we had picked out as the stuff we wanted to keep. So here's number 11. Yeah, that looks bad, I know. Let's get rid of that one and move on to draft 12. Slightly better, although it still doesn't quite feel right. I don't know what you think, but yeah, it wasn't my thing. We came up with draft number 13 instead. And now we're getting somewhere, and I started to like what I was seeing. It only took 13 drafts, so the same is true for draft 14. I quite like this one as well, and it's not too bad. So we're heading in the right direction now, and with number 15 we found the one we wanted to keep. But before I show it to you, let me explain that we of course also analyzed draft 11 through 14, and here we decided to make it so that the chain of swirling islands are the ones that leads to the island with the stone trolls on it, and we also decided to having the swirling islands in 2 places sort of makes it feel less special. I guess you could call it that. So this is how our final draft looks like. We are very happy with that, and hopefully sharing all these different types of drawing, some being very awful, I know, but sharing them hopefully helps to open your eyes as to why it is important not to settle on the first thing that you come up with, because there are better options. So if you play with it, if you try different combinations and keep doing so until you feel that you have arrived at what you want, then your maps will be a lot better. I also have a full fantasy novel which you can download for absolutely free. It's called Desolation, and it's the first installment in the Keystone Bone trilogy. It's got magic, demons, dragons, and everything you would expect to find in a tale of epic fantasy. Go ahead and download your free copy now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and see you next Monday.